The research station Xenon 7 hung in the darkness of space like a small metal seed. It was not an important place, just a tiny outpost on the edge of known space, staffed by a team of Vorthan scientists studying ruins on the planet below. The work was slow, boring, exactly how scientists liked it. Dr. Vela stood in the main lab, staring at the ancient artifact with excitement. For months, it had done nothing, sat there like a dead rock. But today, finally, it had responded to their tests. Faint energy readings, small vibrations. Something was happening. Look at this, Vela said to his team. It is alive. After all this time, it is alive. His junior researcher, a young Vorthan named Krell, hurried over. What caused the reaction? I am not sure yet, but we are close. Very close. The team worked through the night, running test after test. The artifact glowed faintly, responding to their probes. Then Krell made a mistake. He was trying to connect a new scanner to the main console. His fingers, clumsy with excitement, pressed the wrong sequence of commands. A warning flashed on his screen. He tried to cancel it. Too late. An alarm sounded. Vela spun around. What was that? Krell's face was pale. I accidentally triggered a distress signal. Cancel it. Quickly. Krell pressed buttons. Nothing happened. I cannot. It already sent. Wait. Who did it go to? Krell checked the logs. His face went from pale to gray. It went to an old frequency, buried in the database. Labeled Earth, humans, emergency only. The room went silent. A senior researcher spoke. Humans? The diplomats? Yes. But, why would we have a human distress frequency in our database? No one knew. Vela took a breath. It is fine. It is fine. Humans are peaceful. Everyone knows that. They will probably send a polite message asking if we need tea. Krell looked doubtful. Are you sure? Yes. They are diplomats, not warriors. They mediate disputes. They send medical aid. They are harmless. The team tried to relax. They returned to their work, though no one could focus. Hours passed. Nothing happened. See, Vela thought. Nothing to worry about. The next morning, the sensors picked up something. Krell was the first to see it. He stared at his screen, confused. Dr. Vela. Vela walked over. What is it? There is something at the edge of the system. Moving this way. Vela frowned. A ship. Not one. Many. Dozens. Vela's heart skipped. Let me see. Krell brought up the data. The screen filled with readings. Vela stared at them, trying to understand. The objects were large. Very large. And they were moving fast. Too fast for cargo ships. Too organized for random traffic. What are they? A researcher asked. Vela shook his head. I do not know. He zoomed in on the lead object. Its shape became clearer. Long, angular. Armed. That is a warship, he whispered. The room went silent. More ships appeared on the screen. Dozens of them. All the same design. All moving together in perfect formation. Krell found his voice. Those are human ships. Vela nodded slowly. They must be. But you said humans were harmless. You said they would send tea. Vela had no answer. On the screen, the human fleet grew closer. And the scientists of Xenon 7 began to understand that they had made a very big mistake. 3 days passed. Life on Xenon 7 returned to normal. The artifact sat quietly, no longer responding to tests. The team worked, ate, slept. The mistaken signal became a distant memory, a joke they told over meals. Remember when Krell accidentally called the humans? A researcher laughed. We expected tea and got nothing. Krell shrugged, embarrassed. It was an accident. And nothing happened anyway. Vela smiled. See? I told you. Humans are harmless. They probably did not even notice. The team relaxed. Then the alarms went off. Krell was first to his station. His eyes scanned the readings. His face went pale. Dr. Vela. Vela hurried over. What is it? Objects. At the edge of the system. Moving fast. Vela stared at the screen. Multiple contacts. Dozens. Coming directly toward them. How fast? He asked. Very fast. Faster than any civilian ship. Vela's heart began to race. Show me visuals. Krell brought up the external cameras. The screen flickered, then cleared. Ships. Massive ships. dark and angular, with weapons ports clearly visible along their hulls. They moved in perfect formation, like soldiers on parade. One ship was larger than the rest. A flagship, clearly. It led the formation, surrounded by smaller vessels. How many? Vela whispered. Krell checked. 4 to 7. Maybe more coming. The room filled with researchers, all drawn by the alarms. They crowded around the screens, staring at the approaching fleet. A young researcher, barely out of training, spoke in a small voice. I thought humans were peaceful. Vela shook his head slowly. So did I. The fleet continued its approach. It did not slow, did not send messages, did not do anything except move toward them with quiet purpose. Krell tried hailing them. This is Research Station Xenon 7 to unknown vessels. Please identify yourselves. Silence. He tried again. Nothing. Vela watched the ships grow larger on the screen. His mind raced through possibilities. Invasion? Conquest? Revenge for the mistaken signal? But that makes no sense, he muttered. Why would they send warships for a mistake? A senior researcher spoke. Maybe they do not know it was a mistake. Maybe they think we are under attack. Vela blinked. What? Think about it. They received a distress signal from a remote station. What would you do? Vela considered this. I would send help. Yes. And if you had warships, you would send them, in case whoever attacked us was still here. Vela stared at the screen. You think they are coming to help? I think it is possible. The fleet continued its approach. Closer now. Large enough to see details. The ships were beautiful in a terrifying way. Sleek and deadly. Then a message arrived. A calm human voice filled the room. This is Admiral James Corbin of Earth Fleet. We received your distress signal. We are responding. Please confirm your status. The researchers looked at each other. Krell found his voice. They came to help. Vela nodded slowly. It appears so. He opened a channel. This is Dr. Vela of Xenon 7. The distress signal was a mistake. An accident. We do not need assistance. Silence. Then the Admiral spoke again. Accidental or not, we are here now. We will remain until we confirm you are safe. Please prepare to receive a boarding party. The fleet stopped moving. It positioned itself around the station, surrounding it like protective giants. The researchers watched in awe. They are staying, Krell whispered. They came all this way for a mistake, and now they are staying to make sure we are safe. Vela looked at the ships outside his window. Perhaps, he said quietly, we do not know humans as well as we thought. The boarding party was on its way. The human fleet stopped just outside the station's weapons range. It hung there, massive and silent, surrounding Xenon 7 like a ring of metal and light. The researchers stared at the screens, counting the ships again and again. 4 to 7. Still 4 to 7. Then a communication channel opened. A calm human voice filled the room. It was deep, steady, without panic or threat. This is Admiral James Corbin of Earth Fleet. We received your distress signal. What is your situation? Dr. Vela looked at his team. Their faces were pale, scared. He took a breath and activated the microphone. This is Dr. Vela of Xenon 7. There's been a mistake. The signal was accidental. We do not need assistance. Silence. The researchers waited. Seconds felt like hours. Then the Admiral spoke again. His voice was the same. Calm. Steady. Accidental or not, we are here now. We will remain until we confirm you are safe. Vela's heart raced. Remain? For how long? As long as necessary. Standard procedure. Krell whispered. Standard procedure? They have a procedure for this. The Admiral continued. We will send a small team to your station. They will assess the situation and report back. If everything is fine, we will leave. If not, we will help. Vela found his voice. That is not necessary. We are fine. Really. With respect, Doctor, we traveled a long way. We would like to see for ourselves. The channel closed. The researchers gathered in the main lab, speaking in hushed voices. They are coming aboard, Krell said. What do we do? A senior researcher shrugged. Let them come. What choice do we have? But why? Why would they send warships for a mistake? Why would they send a boarding party when we told them we are fine? No one had an answer. Vela watched the view screen. A small ship had detached from the largest vessel. It was moving toward them. They are coming, he said quietly. Everyone stay calm. Do not do anything stupid. The small ship docked with the station. Airlocks hissed. Doors opened. 3 humans stepped through. The first was tall, with gray hair and a face that showed years of experience. He wore a simple uniform with medals on the chest. His eyes were calm-ending. Behind him came 2 younger humans, a man and a woman. They carried no visible weapons, but their posture suggested they were ready for anything. The tall human approached Vela and extended his hand. "Admiral James Corbin," he said. "Thank you for allowing us aboard." Vela shook the hand uncertainly. It was warm. Firm. Not threatening. "I am Dr. Vela. This is my team." Corbin looked around the room. At the scared researchers. At the equipment. At the artifact in the corner. "You sent a distress signal," he said. "Why?" Vela explained. "The artifact. The excitement. Krell's mistake. The accidental transmission." Corbin listened without interrupting. When Vela finished, he nodded slowly. "I see. We are sorry for the trouble," Vela added quickly. "We did not mean to waste your time." Corbin smiled slightly. "It is not a waste, Doctor. A signal was sent. We responded. That is what we do." But you sent warships. An entire fleet. For a mistake." Corbin looked at him. "What if it had not been a mistake? What if you were under attack? What if you were dying?" Vela had no answer. Corbin continued. "We do not take chances with distress signals. If someone calls for help, we answer. Every time. No questions. No hesitation. Even if it is a false alarm. Especially then. Because the one time we ignore a signal, it might be real." The researchers stared at him. This was not what they expected from humans. Krell spoke up. "But everyone says humans are peaceful. Diplomats. Helpers. Not warriors." Corbin turned to him. "We are peaceful. That does not mean we are weak. We help because we choose to. And sometimes helping means showing up with ships." He looked around the room. "Now, show us your station. Let us confirm you are safe. Then we will leave you to your work." The humans spent 2 hours on the station. They checked every room, every system, every researcher. They asked questions, took notes, nodded thoughtfully. Then they left. As Corbin walked toward the airlock, Vela stopped him. "Admiral, one question." Corbin turned. "Why do you do this? Why do you care so much about a few researchers on a remote station?" Corbin was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. "Because once, long ago, humans sent a distress signal. No one came. People died. We decided then, it would never happen again. Not to us. Not to anyone." He smiled slightly. "So now, when someone calls, we come. Every time. No matter what." He stepped through the airlock. The small ship detached and returned to the fleet. Minutes later, the human ships began to move. They formed a line and departed, leaving Xenon 7 alone in the darkness. The researchers watched them go in silence. Finally, Krell spoke. "They came all this way. For a mistake." Vela nodded slowly. "And they would do it again," he said. "That is the amazing part." He looked at the artifact, still glowing faintly. "Perhaps," he murmured, "we have much to learn about humans." The airlock hissed open. Admiral James Corbin stood there alone. No guards. No weapons. Just a tall human with gray hair and calm eyes, wearing a simple uniform. Dr. Vela stared at him. "You came alone." Corbin smiled slightly. "You seemed nervous. I thought a smaller presence might help." Vela did not know what to say. He stepped aside. "Please, come in." Corbin walked into the main lab. The researchers gathered in a corner, watching him with a mix of fear and curiosity. He nodded to them politely, then turned to Vela. "Thank you for allowing me aboard." Vela nodded. I was not sure I had a choice." "You always have a choice, Doctor. We are guests here, not invaders." The words surprised Vela. He had expected demands, orders, threats. Instead, this human spoke like a visitor, not a conqueror. "Please," Vela said, gesturing to a chair. "Sit. Would you like something to drink?" Corbin Saturday. "Water would be fine, thank you." A researcher hurried to get it. The others slowly moved closer, curiosity overcoming fear. Corbin accepted the water and drank. Then he looked around the room. "You are wondering why we came," he said quietly. "Why we sent warships for a mistake." Vela nodded. "Yes. We do not understand." Corbin set the glass down. Let me tell you a story. He began. Thousands of years ago, on Earth, humans traveled across oceans in wooden ships. It was dangerous. Many died. But one ship, called the Titanic, was said to be unsinkable. The biggest, strongest ship ever built. He paused. It sank on its first journey. Hit an iceberg and went down. More than 1,500 people died. Vela frowned. That is terrible. But what does it have to do with us? Corbin continued. Before it sank, the ship sent distress signals. Calls for help. Other ships heard them. But one ship, the closest one, did not respond. The radio operator had gone to sleep. He did not hear the calls. Silence. 1,500 people died because one person was asleep. He looked around the room. That is just one story. There are thousands more. Cities that burned while firefighters were delayed. People who bled to death while ambulances were stuck in traffic. Children who drowned while lifeguards looked away. He leaned forward. Humans learned something from all those deaths. We learned that when someone calls for help, you answer. Every time. No matter what. Because the one time you do not answer, someone dies. Krell spoke softly. But that was thousands of years ago. You still remember? Corbin nodded. We remember. We teach it to our children. We build it into our laws. We make it part of who we are. He gestured vaguely at the stars. When we joined the galactic community, we brought that with us. Every human ship, every human station, every human world has one rule. If you hear a distress signal, you respond. No questions. No hesitation. Vela stared at him. You sent an entire fleet, for a mistake. Corbin smiled. We sent an entire fleet because someone might need us. A mistake is better than a missed call. A researcher spoke up. But what if it is a trap? What if someone wants to attack you? Corbin shrugged. Then we deal with that when it happens. So far, no one has tried. And if they do? He paused. They will learn why we send fleets. The room was quiet. Vela shook his head slowly. I do not understand. You risk your ships, your people, for strangers. For aliens you do not even know. Corbin looked at him. Doctor, do you have children? Vela blinked. Yes. 2. Would you want someone to help them if they were in danger? Of course. That is all this is. We help others because we hope others would help us. It is simple. Vela had no response. Corbin stood. Now, if you will excuse me, I should return to my ship. We will remain in the system for another day, just to be sure everything is fine. Then we will leave. He walked toward the airlock. At the door, he paused. Doctor, one more thing. Vela waited. If you ever really need help, call again. We will come. Always. He stepped through the airlock. The door closed behind him. The researchers stood in silence for a long time. Finally, Krell spoke. They came all this way. Risked everything. For strangers. Vela nodded slowly. And they would do it again, he said. That is who they are. He looked at the artifact, still glowing faintly. Perhaps, he murmured, that is the most amazing thing of all. The human fleet departed at dawn. Dr. Vela stood at the observation window, watching the last ship disappear into the darkness. 4 to 7 vessels, here one moment, gone the next. Like they had never come at all. But they had come. And everything was different now. Krell joined him at the window. They are really gone. Vela nodded. Yes. Do you think they would have stayed longer if we asked? Vela considered this. I think they would have stayed forever if we needed them. Krell was quiet for a moment. That is strange to think about. Strangers willing to stay forever. That is what makes them human, I think. They stood together in silence, watching the empty space where the fleet had been. Word spread across the galaxy. It started with small reports. Scientific journals mentioning the incident. Communication logs shared between stations. Whispers among researchers. Then the news networks picked it up. Human fleet responds to accidental distress signal. 4 to 7 warships traveled across the galaxy for a mistake. Why humans answer every call? The stories spread from world to world. Other species read them with confusion. Why would anyone send warships for a mistake? Why would anyone risk so much for strangers? The humans did not explain. They simply continued as before. Quiet. Helpful. Peaceful. But now the galaxy watched them differently. 3 weeks later, a real distress signal came. The colony was called Doran's World. A small Vorthan settlement on the edge of explored space. It had no military, no defenses, just farmers and traders living simple lives. A pirate fleet attacked at dawn. The pirates were experienced. They had done this before. They would take what they wanted, kill anyone who resisted, and be gone before help arrived. The colony sent a distress signal. One signal, weak and desperate. Then they waited to die. The human ships arrived 4 hours later. They came out of warp like ghosts, appearing all around the pirate fleet. Massive warships, weapons armed, targeting every pirate vessel. The pirates panicked. They tried to flee. There was nowhere to go. A calm human voice broadcast on all channels. "This is Admiral James Corbin of Earth Fleet. You are surrounded. Surrender now, or be destroyed." The pirates looked at their screens, at the human ships, at the impossible odds. They surrendered. The colony was saved. Human ships landed. Human doctors treated the wounded. Human engineers repaired the damage. Human soldiers guarded the perimeter until the threat was gone. The colonists could not believe it. They had sent one signal, one desperate call, and an entire fleet had appeared. A Vorthan elder approached Admiral Corbin. "How?" she asked. "How did you come so fast? How did you know?" Corbin smiled. "We did not know. We just always have ships ready, always watching, always waiting." "But why? We are not your people. We are not your allies. We are strangers." Corbin looked at her. "You sent a distress signal. That is all that matters." The news spread faster this time. Every species heard about Doran's world, about the human fleet appearing from nowhere, about the pirates surrendering without a fight, about the colony saved. The Galactic Council held a special session. Representatives argued about what it meant. A KRYLL counselor spoke. "They are not just diplomats. They are not just helpers. They are protectors." A Vorthan nodded. "Call for help, and they will come. Every time." A Xylo's leader added quietly. "That is power. Real power. Not the power to destroy. The power to save." The council fell silent. Months later, Dr. Vela stood again at his observation window. The artifact was gone now, shipped to a proper research facility. The station was quiet. Krell joined him. "You heard about Doran's world?" Krell asked. Vela nodded. Everyone heard. "They came. Just like they came for us. Just like they come for everyone." Krell was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. "What are they, really? I have been thinking about it for months. They are not warriors. They are not conquerors. They are not even really helpers, not in the way we thought." Vela looked at him. "What are they, then?" Krell considered his answer. "They are the ones who show up." Vela smiled slowly. "Yes," he said. "That is exactly what they are." He looked out at the stars. "Other species talk about strength, about power, about winning. Humans just show up. When it matters. When someone needs them. They are there." He shook his head in wonder. "That is not strength. That is something more." Krell nodded. "What do we call it?" Vela thought for a long moment. "I do not know if there is a word for it. But I know this, if I ever need help, I will call them." Krell smiled. "Me too." They stood together, watching the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships were moving. Watching. Waiting. Ready to show up.